Ken, talk about training that we do and we provide for you fellows as you advance your careers. You talked about, do we furnish uniforms? We do furnish uniforms for everyone. That black hat is a Ryder requirement. If you want to wear a hat in the shop, we want you to wear a Ryder hat. Do we clean uniforms? Yes. You don't have to worry about anything. We take care of everything. Once again, we talk about quality and standards. We want you to look professional, so we want to make sure you look good in the shop area. What tools are required? All the new diagnostic tools and all that, we furnish all that stuff, all the big impacts, all the heavy-duty tools, torque wrenches, we cover all those. When you come to work for Ryder Truck Rental, you need to take a tool inventory list. We cover up to, what did you, 5,000? Is it 5,000 or 7,000?
I think 7.
Is it 7,000? Up to $7,000 worth of tools and toolbox that you have, we cover under insurance, but you have to have a up-to-date tool inventory list on file in the district office. So that's part of what you need to do. If there's any tool that we furnish for you and have in your toolbox, we advise you to take it home because we will not cover it under our insurance. But like I say, this tool chest that you have is enough to get you started with Ryder, and you can go from there. If you got more, it's fine. Yes, sir.
That was one question I was going to ask more and I didn't get to. Do y'all have any kind of program where when you get on, if you advance, say you advance and you need more tools as time goes, do you have any kind of program to help get them and take them out of pay or anything like that?
That's something you can work out with your, we'll let you purchase them through Ryder's purchasing power and all that. That's something you can work out with your local manager, whoever you go to work for. But you can buy them a lot cheaper through Ryder. Our employees, as far as training, Ken's going to talk about that. He's going to tell you what the process is. Charlie's talking about all the any type of equipment that's made, you could be working on in Ryder, because that's exactly what we have in our fleet. We talked about transferring from state to state. If there's a job available, you can transfer. Just because you want to live in Oklahoma, that's fine. We're not going to make you move. We talked about employees being on call 24 hours a day. Most times when you become a manager like Charlie, you're on call 24 hours a day. Even in this region job I'm in, I consider myself on call 24 hours a day. If we've got an emergency or something broke, it's our responsibility to stand in front of it and get the customer going. We do share responsibility for service calls and stuff. If you want to run service calls, you want the overtime, you want the beeper, we establish that in the shop and then we rotate the beeper. So you get an opportunity for overtime and things, because we do provide 24-hour road service for our customers. Employees furnish service vehicle. When you go on service calls, parts chasing and all that, yes, you will be driving a service vehicle. Their service vehicle will be assigned to you at that level, at the branch maintenance manager level and above. Their vehicles are assigned to those employees, so they take them home at night because they are on call 24 hours a day. Someone asked about having knowledge of data entry on a computer. We urge you to know computers. We're installing automated shop floors right now, paperless shop floors. I would say within the next 3 to 4 years, all our shops will be equipped with paperless shop floors. So you need to know how to run computers. Don't be shy from that. You need that. That's just today's society. And it's just like all electronics on the engine. You need to know how to input and extract data out of computers. So.
They over here, they talk enable systems, and they're fixing to teach them Work Perfect, different systems. What kind of system do y'all have that's compatible with which?
Take anything they'll give you. Work Perfect, take it. I mean, it's all basic. It's just like a typewriter. It doesn't matter what typewriter you type on, as long as you know the basics of typing, you can work that typewriter. Let's take 5 minutes then from then. Get on the program.
About the company, just briefly this morning. I kind of just like to run through that just a little bit. We're certainly not new in the truck rental and leasing business. A fellow by the name of Jim Ryder started Ryder Truck Rental back in the mid-30s, leasing his first trucks to a peer distributor there in Miami, Florida. And we've grown from that. Still a heavy-duty, high-mileage tractor, straight truck, full-service lease is a core part of our business. It's a major part of our business. We've got about 10,200 customers operating in excess of 72,000 vehicles in that product line. Something you're more familiar with day to day is probably the consumer side. We operate a little over 30,000 of those vehicles. things you may not be too familiar with is like the bus operation there in Dallas. That's the Dallas Area Rapid Transit System. If you take your kids and go to Disney World, you may ride on a Ryder bus down there, the Space Coast Area Transit or SCAT buses down there. In addition to that, we are an international company. You can see RTR Canada. In addition to the transit buses, we do operate about 6,000 school buses. We transfer about 400,000 school kids each year. A big part of our business is contract carriage, dedicated driver, truck, the whole 9 yards, if you will. If you are planning on buying a new Saturn vehicle, it'll probably come to you on a Ryder truck. And seriously, fellas, if you ever get over into Nashville, it's really an operation you'd like to see, I would think. It's quite an operation, that Saturn operation there in Nashville. Complete Auto Transit is a portion of our automotive carrier division. Last year, we delivered 5.6 million cars on Ryder trucks. What does all that mean to you? Well, the diversity of vehicles, we still feel like we're going to need the nuts and bolts kind of guy. It's going to make the overhauls of the transmissions, the engines, and that sort of thing. But in addition to that, we're going to need the fellow that's computer literate. Basically, when you're operating a handheld diagnostic tool, checking out an engine, what is that other than basically a computer, right? A little handheld computer. And we do need that kind of person. We have 3 area training centers that handle the majority of our training needs in Atlanta, Baltimore, and over in Denver. In addition to that, we have what's called regional training sites. There's one down in Dallas, there's one up in Portland, Oregon. Very recent one we put in over in Indianapolis. In addition to that, we have mobile classrooms where, for example, like Caterpillar has a training room, the cutaways, and the engine right on the truck. And that makes an annual circuit throughout the United States. So that's another way that we help bring that training down a little bit closer to the people. So we don't invest so much time in carting people back and forth across the country to a training site. In addition to the area and the region and the regional band, we have what's called district training seminars or qualification seminars where the training takes place right in the district. As Bruce told you earlier this morning, the district is the profit-making entity within Ryder. You know, the districts make up the regions. And we try to do most of our qualifications in the district so that you don't have to travel away from home and that sort of thing. This is a brake qualification class going on there in Denver. This is the training room there in Baltimore. That class is set up for an ECFA class, ECFI, Electronic Controlled Fuel Injection class. The main reason I show these fellows is I think it's quite easy for a company to say, hey, we've got all this great training. Now, I want you to have assurance when you leave here that we do in fact have this. You can touch it, it's there when you leave here. This is the Freightliner Smart Dash in conjunction with the Visual 3 engine management system. There's a training board there in Denver. Tom was kind enough to send me some photos of some of his training aids. Caterpillar's Peak system there. Not too many of those training aids exist. Fortunately, they provided us with some of those. Detroit likewise has an electronic engine management system. Cummins provides us with interactive video type training aids. You can plug in a disc and do your training directly on that computer there. Some of the training aids we have to build ourselves. This is a little unit that got in a little bit of trouble out on the roadway, and we decided it might make a good training aid for ECFI, Electronic Controlled Fuel Injection training. This happens to be an update class that went on last week over in Oklahoma City. Some of the fellows that came through early on in our electronics training, the 85, 86 time frame, early electronics training within Ryder, it was time for those guys to come back through and get updated on some of the newer management systems that were out there. And so that's what's taking place here over in Oklahoma City. Most of those fellows are from the area, and they're getting what's called EC90 update. It is a hands-on, it is a pass-fail type thing. Several years ago, we started increasing our support of VICA. I don't know if any of you fellows are involved in VICA. This is a couple of shots from the contest there in Wichita. And most of the training group gets involved in that support of VICA. So we're trying to broaden our horizons, if you will. VICA's going to be in Louisville this year, isn't it?
It already was.
It was already.
Okay. You can kind of switch around there just a little bit. Our training group right now, fellas, consists of, you count those names up there, it comes in, you'll come up with 17 names. There should be 18. A fellow that left us went out and tried the marketplace, decided that, hey, Ryder wasn't too bad off after all, so he came back to work for us, and he's back now on the Caterpillar training van, making that circuit I was talking about throughout the United States. So there's now 18 of us. This number will grow, hopefully in 93, by 3 more people. So we are, as Charlie alluded to earlier, we try to be proactive in training. We try to stay away from the knee-jerk type of training. We try to be providing training before a person needs it in his job area. Courses, or excuse me, not really courses, qualifications that are in existence right now. If you'd like to, just take a look there, the second one down, brake air systems. You notice that's broken out, brake hydraulic. Those are 2 different qualification phases. What does that mean? Well, what that tells you is that if you work in a location, for example, what we call a captive location, might operate only a certain type of vehicle for one particular customer. And you might well work on only one type of brake system, right? So that says that we, as Ryder, don't expect you to qualify in all the air systems and all the all the hydraulic systems. That says that if you only need hydraulic, that's what you need to qualify. Walk on down, if you will. Notice about the middle, there's ignition and emission systems. For example, if we were to attract one of the fellows from the automotive side of the business, or of the school, and he showed a proficiency for ignition and emissions, that would be the guy in our location that we try to encourage to go ahead and take that qualification. So wait a minute, Ken, what's the point of that? If he's good in it, why are you going to go ahead and qualify? We want to train to our strengths, and I think Charlie, I know he alluded to that this morning, and I'm not sure what he did this afternoon. We no longer want to try to train up people that are weak in certain areas. We want to train to your strengths. If you feel good about AC, Bill, you like AC, and that's an area you want to excel in, then that's the area we want to train in. If the fella is low in let's say transmissions, doesn't really care much about transmissions, we certainly don't want to spend money training in that area. There was a question earlier, I think, about CDLs, and we do, in our preventive maintenance program, require a road test of the vehicle. Notice there in the top paragraph, if you're going to operate a vehicle over 26,000 pounds, you would need a CDL. The road test would be a part of that. So our PM qualification, part of that PM qualification says that you would need to have a CDL.
How much CDL do you have to have material in there?
Excuse me?
Did it say
What?
hazardous something? Did it say hazardous material?
It may have.
Or
Let's
it's
look.
low?
Let's look.
The only time you have to have a hazardous material on your CDL is if you're going to be driving a vehicle that's got hazardous material on it.
You're gonna have a propane handler's license.
If you're going to get a CDL, you need to try to get the areas that you're going to be
What?
involved in. If you're not going to be around hazardous material, there's no sense in hazardous material on the CDL, because you have to go back, every time you get your license renewed, you have to retake a hazardous material test. But one thing you're going to have to take in this is air brake. To drive a tractor and trailer, you have to have air brakes, and you have to have combination to pull a trailer. So basically, that's all you have to have.
That's all I have to have for mechanical.
Right.
Well,
You'd want to get a Class A license combination,
Yeah.
what you want to get.
Does Ryder have trucks, big trucks leased out there to companies that haul this hazardous waste?
Right.
Where if we was a mechanic here, if we was going on an emergency service call, we'd go out there to work on this truck that's out there loaded with hazardous waste. Then are we required to have that on our license in order to move that truck off the road or drive it in the
If
shop?
you had to drive a
If you
vehicle,
did
you
not
got to
have though, then we'd have to handle that in some other way.
But y'all don't
You know.
require it, what I'm asking.
For a job, to go to work with Ryder, from my understanding, you'd need a Class A license. That would let you drive a bobtail unit or a tractor and trailer combination. That way you'd be set.
That, good answer?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. PM, I don't know what you fellows have heard about PM. I don't get you, in VICA, go through a PM section when you went through the VICA.
Well, we just had a vehicle inspection. They use them budget trucks for that.
Okay. Budget?
And national.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. PM is a big part of our business. If you look at us compared to someone else you might go to work for, philosophy is different. Whereas a dealer, distributorship, or something of that nature, they make money when it's broken down sitting in the shop, right?
Right.
The only way we make money is we keep that puppy on the road. Completely different set of philosophy there. And I think you really ought to consider that, regardless of who you go to work for. Charlie and I would love to think that everybody would love to come to work with Ryder. Reality says that not everybody will want to do that. But there is a completely different philosophy between the way we work, the way a lot of the dealerships and that sort of thing operate. Some of you should be aware that now it's a federal requirement that if you work on air brake systems, you are qualified, and that you go work for a place, you have a document within your file stating that you are qualified to work on, let's say, air brake systems. Fellows, the Department of Transportation, they're known as DOT, can today come on your lot, verify files, records, signatures, employees, inspect vehicles, and that sort of thing. So it is now part of our air brake qualification that we certify people and provide for them in their employee file a document stating they are qualified to work on and maintain air brake systems. This is something we have to do to make sure that we're up to speed with the federal government. Continued federal involvement within our lives, we're seeing that more and more. Many of your, call your air conditioning area, handling Freon, now as a part of our AC qualification, we have to make sure that people people are qualified in not only charging and that sort of thing, but diagnosis, but also what? Recover, recycle, reclaim those CFCs. A side task to this, we had to develop a separate self-study, home study for CFC handling. And part of my job in that was to come up with a video to assist that self-study for CFC handling. That was in addition to the AC qualifications. So there's just more and more federal involvement in our lives. Some good lights on the truck. I don't see that changing either. You know?
Do y'all require or encourage the ASC certification tests and stuff like that?
If a person came to us from outside and said that I have ASE and this and this and this area, we'd certainly look upon that well. We wouldn't require it, and we would hope within our company that our qualification program would be better than that. I believe it is. Time will tell. Did I dance around your question good enough? Qualification, what is it and why do I need it? The definition of qualification within a Ryder truck rental tells is performance-based training and evaluation. What that says is that when you come to an evaluation for qualification, you should be proficient when you show up. Okay? So that's the only thing that the instructor does is go around and verify for a minimal amount of training. All he does is go around and verify that yes, what you can maintain your right systems. Yes, you can adjust clutch properly, etc., etc. Performance-based training, especially hands-on. How many times have you fellas heard the expression, well, I do real good with my hands, but I don't do too well with tests and that sort of thing. And that's a true statement too. I mean, that really happens. That's good. So that kind of helps eliminate that. When a fella can simply, hey, I can't put it on paper, but I can take you over here and show you how to do it. And that's fine with us. You know, if he can show us to a level 3 that he can do it, that's fine. Just give you a brief overview of how qualification works. Shop supervision, working with the technician, determine the need within the location. For example, a particular location, they may not have enough hours, man hours, to cover the needs in a system such as air conditioning. And between the technician showing proficiency in that area and supervision saying, hey, light bulb went off, I need someone trained in that area. The technician would be encouraged to enroll in that AC 90 or whatever it might be, self-study module, and a learning map would be sent to that technician. The technician is encouraged to work out of that self-study manual as he does his tasks day to day within the shop. For example, when he, one learning map section might say use diagnostic equipment. When he proceeds through that self-study, feels confident about the use of use of diagnostic equipment, he checked that off. And when he proceeds and finishes that learning map, and the shop supervision should sign off on that to say, hey, he's ready. The only reason, guys, that we have the shop supervision sign off on that is to say, that's one more person simply saying he's ready to go. We don't want guys showing up that what? They're not ready. You know, it just wastes everybody's time. Once he completes that learning module, he will, in that district, another 7 guys, we try to get 8 people in a class, evaluation. He will be assigned or set up or scheduled for a qualification. It might be, it might be in Nashville, it might be Albuquerque, no telling where the evaluation might be. but hopefully it'll be as close to your home as possible. We've got, we have 8 people in Oklahoma City, and that's what it's going to be. If we have 5 people in Tulsa, and 3 people in Oklahoma City, then it'll be in Tulsa. But we're serious about reducing the amount of travel costs for training. And I think the guys like that. I've heard them tell me over and over again, hey, I don't like to leave Mama back home for a week at a time. You know, and that's fine. I do.
Just us crazy guys, huh, Ken?
Yeah, it's those guys that fly around the country and don't do anything.
Yeah.
I think older men seem to tolerate it better.
What was that?
Older
people.
men tolerate
Thanks,
it
old
better.
guys like us.
Yeah.
And really what we're after is very straightforward goal of qualified people working in qualified shops. If we can qualify our people and we provide within those shops the tools to do the job that those shops do, then we should have qualified people in qualified shops. It's rather simplistic, I agree, but sometimes it's kind of difficult to get to that goal. We've got just 5 minutes of video here. This is a video that we put out within our house in Ryder. Talks about maintenance standards. And all I've done is queued it up to the qualification phase. Fellows within that aren't professional speakers, so kind of go along with their accent, if you will. Let you hear what they have to say about it. Back up a little bit. Yeah.
Choices, choices, choices. I went to the Pepsi machine this morning. Used to be you'd get a Pepsi, but the consumer wanted more. Now there's Pepsi, Pepsi-free, caffeine-free Diet Pepsi, and of course, Diet Pepsi with 100% aha. Now can you imagine? This AC/DC laptop computer is just 6 months old, but it's outdated. Not enough memory, and it weighs a whopping 9 pounds. And to think, people go fishing to get away from it all, but take their phones with them. Choices and changes. In the transportation industry, it's the same. Customers want more features at a higher quality and a lower cost. They want mobility, electronically managed systems, a smoother ride, better mileage, aerodynamic streamlined tractor trailers, climate control, refrigerated units, anti-lock brakes, fiberglass panels, smart wipers, keyless entry, electronic shifting of manual transmissions, geostar mapping, vehicle locators, and the requests go on and on. With all these customer requests, and with all the different specs on the vehicles, Ryder has an obligation to you and the customer to provide the proper training to meet the challenge of maintaining these up-to-the-minute features. The Macon District illustrates their commitment to training and to helping their technicians expand their capabilities.
The days of the backyard mechanic being able to work on this piece of equipment, they're gone now. You have to know how to troubleshoot it. If you do not have the proper equipment to troubleshoot it or the training to operate the equipment, you know, you're just guessing, shooting in the dark. I've had a very good rapport from the employees as far as being involved in the qualification program. I've seen a lot of good come out of it. We'd like to see 100% participation. So everybody is enrolled in qualification. I keep saying you can provide a better service for your customer, whether it be your customer or an inter-district customer comes through or an inter-branch customer, because you've got a qualified person you can send out there to troubleshoot these units and take care of it. Plus, like you say, the time factor, it takes them less time if they're qualified and they know how to, well, if they know how to use the machine, and it takes them, they're more efficient just all around. So time management is definitely improved. A lot of it has to do with people and attitude. You've got to have good attitude and good morale, and if you get started in qualification, you can see what it'll do for you as far as in your shop, productivity increases, your customers are happier, because you'll be able to provide them a better service, though, and it makes the technician feel more that he's involved with Ryder Truck Rental. So it all nets together and gives you a sense of pride.
The qualification patches, they really give you a sense of pride. You feel like you've accomplished something, you've got training you really can't get anywhere else. Different people talk to that work with other companies, they go to maybe one engine company school, and where Ryder's got a program, we study all the engines, we've got a room with all the live engines that's nowhere else in the world, we've got it.
With advanced technology and everything, there's nobody needs to be afraid of the program. You need to get involved in it because it's the way the future is. And if you don't get in on the ground floor of it and then try to get in later, this technology is just going to be accelerated in the years to come and you'll be lost. But if you get in on it and just go through it, the self-study, and go through the procedures, and each step as you go through, each booklet is set up, and self-study is set up in steps. And, you know, you'll be more than amply rewarded because of the accomplishments you've had, plus the compliments, you know, it helps the shop, it helps the company, it helps the customer. And there's no reason that a person cannot get into it.
Commitment. 100% participation. Pretty impressive. The technicians made a decision and backed it up with a commitment. It's also interesting to note that more and more federal legislation requires proof that people are qualified. And it's our goal as a company to set the industry standards for qualification.
You know, qualification is a method of continuing education. It's a way to stay ahead of the competition by anticipating future changes. Just as electricians, aircraft technicians, nurses, and paramedics continually update their education, the Ryder Qualification Program gives the same opportunities for growth and development to our technicians. By reaching the qualification standard, the future is ours.
Okay. I kind of rushed along after talked about the course qualifications available. Is there anything I could answer?
So you encourage a man to take all the schools he can take?
All that he wants to, yeah.
I would tell you that me as a branch maintenance manager, I'm going to give you guidance on what our customers and what our trucks require at that particular branch. And then once we reach that, we'll let you go on and do other things. But we're going to accomplish those first.
Yeah.
You bet.
Okay. But yeah, it takes you, what's it take for a qualification? I mean, it takes a period.
Well, like
you're doing
diesel overhaul would be a year.
Yeah, it takes time. And we're requiring them now just to get enrolled and want to finish it, because what we found is they were, boys would get enrolled in 2 or 3 and they wouldn't finish any.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to address, Dwight, was that, you know, we occasionally have fellows that say, hey, I want to get involved with 5 of them, or I want to sign up for 5 of them. First thing we have to do is come back and say, why? You know, because you're really putting too much of a load on yourself. I mean,
Well, yeah, that's kind of what I meant. As long as you finish one and used it
yeah, yep,
in that area,
Yep.
if something comes up,
That's right.
you can move on.
Right.
absolutely.
How many of these, do you have to have a certain number of qualifications, or, you know, qualified in a certain number of areas before you can move from 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4?
At present time, no.
We're requiring you to take, as you come into the shop, we're requiring everyone first to take the PM qualification, because that's critical, because everybody's going to be PM trucks. You do that one first, and then you can go on from there.
A lot of times the location manager will look at his needs, his fleet, and he'll say, okay, I need someone to take brakes, and I need someone in refrigeration, I need someone to do this. And so you sort of get your guys together and find out who would be good in those areas. that you need critically so you get those guys started. And,
But if you're not good in reefers, we're gonna, if you know you're not good in reefers, we know you're not good in reefers, we don't want you to take qualification.
Kind of question, like I went in and worked and I qualified for PMs. And so I've been there 2 years or a year and a half or going on 2 years. And I haven't completed this qualification in engine overhaul, something like that. Would I not have the chance to move up to level 2 because I didn't have some more certifications other than PM?
No, we'd have to identify why, if it took you that long, why weren't you further along than that?
Okay.
But,
That's just an example of time, you know.
but we've got some, I mean, you can go as fast as you want to go.
In that qualification, did y'all have hydraulics in there, anything about hydraulics?
Just brakes.
No.
Just brakes.
Just brakes.
that's on hydraulics we get into, is like power lifts and things like that on trailers. It's got all the hydraulic stuff.
School buses, wheelchair lifts,
PTOs, not a lot, not much.
Too complicated.
But it's fundamentals. You're getting good fundamentals with those hydraulics. So it's key to your expanding once you get out there and work for us.
and that, I think it was this morning, talked about reading,
Yes,
math.
reading, math.
It's sad out there, guys.
You take it
It is
for granted.
sad. Doing a class up in New York, I asked one of the fellows in my class, would you read that for us as a group? I embarrassed him. He couldn't read. Read. It's, so, you know, if you can work on that while you're here, you know, while you're paying for this time that you're here, it's tough out there in the marketplace. It is so bad that we as a company are being involved in what's called project literacy. I don't know if you've heard anything about that. It's where companies help those who have trouble with reading, math problems. It's a volunteer basis, and a person that, you know, if he has a problem, he or she has a problem with reading, they can sign up for that. And the volunteer will help them, and then that volunteer sends a bill to the company. And we, as Herb Miller or Charlie Bean, don't even know that it's going on. So, you know, your boss doesn't even know that you're improving your skills, you know, improving the reading and math.
If you go to work in a company and you're working for some number of years, 10 years or whatever, you know, and you've worked up through the line, and someday you're hoping you can move up into shop foreman or supervisor or something, you know, above.
Yeah.
It's like taking business courses here, is that going to help you any going to work, or is it going to?
Absolutely, yeah, yeah. Because you're learning, you're going to get exposed to, and that's a key part of it. You're going to get exposed to. We had a kid this morning who was doing computer, you know, taking some computers, and simply his exposure to that to help break down that barrier of reluctance. You know, too many times we see out there in the marketplace or in the job force, guys afraid to walk up to something, afraid to go break it, you know, a computer or whatever it might be, because he's afraid it's going to do damage. And it's one of the neat things anymore about electronics. You don't have to worry about, you know, unless you take a hammer and chisel knife or something. But yeah, it's going to help you. It's going to help you. I would certainly encourage you to do that.
It's all the requirement here. We're required to take information processing, microprocessor applications, technical electronics principles, and then all of our
Computer information
systems.
Just like JD's talking about business principles, you know, if you work yourself up into a branch man like Charlie or one of these fellows, you're going to have a budget, you know, and that's a business principle.
Mr. Jackson suggested for me, with some of my past experience and other things, it would be good if I could get some business courses.
Sure.
I'm taking one elective now, and I'm planning on taking several more before we get out of here.
Good.
For future references.
Anything else?
JD, I'm glad you came back so, and I apologize that I didn't give Ken enough time this morning, but I feel kind of like we robbed the first class this morning.
I felt kind of guilty getting up and walking out while he was talking.
Nobody else did.
Fine.
Maybe since you filmed it, maybe we could show it to the other class we met. We didn't go through this with Ken. I think we lost something. We should have talked to him. So if you could help me with that.
If you don't have any other questions, I've got one I want to ask. You don't have any more? Okay. If you were to dismiss Ryder as a potential employer, would you tell me and be candid with your reason? Would you do that? You know, if you've already seen our clock at this point, right? And you've seen what we are and who we are and that sort of thing, and you basically said, nah, it doesn't sound like my bag or my game or my forte, whatever. I really and truly would like a candid answer. And this is long-term planning, is what we're working on. By the year 2000, we've got to do some very innovative things to get our workforce where it needs to be at that turn of the century mark. So I need your input. I guess you're providing me with support.
Maybe you need to rule Ryder out.
I'll tell you, no, I haven't, but I'll tell you what I've heard. It's the money that's involved when you get to comparing working on trucks, gas compression fees.
Oh, okay.
So many of these people go right out of here and start 10, 12, 14. That's their starting places.
Okay. Gas compression.
Yes. The money, I mean, no hourly wage.
Hourly.
I'm not going to do that.
Well, there's quite a few.
I'm not going to work gas compression. I don't get it. But I'm saying that's what I hear a lot.
Sure.
A lot of guys say, hey, I'm not going to work on
That's what I
trucks.
want. That's what
I'm not going to work on trucks. It don't pay enough. Of course, you can go gas compression. What's the dollar?
I think 7, 8, 9 at most.
Different cities will be paid different wages.
Yeah.
The only thing I could urge anybody to do, because I've had guys come to me and say, I'm leaving Ryder.
Yeah.
And I say, and I have, the good ones, I went to them and said, wait a minute, let me see you, tell me your package and tell me what you're getting, and then we'll go over Ryder's package. And the thing that you generally that you lose sight of is the benefit package and the long-term stuff. And 80% of the time, I'm able to sit the guy down and say, okay, here's your package, where you're going, and here's what Ryder's currently giving you. Now you tell me how much money you're gonna make.
Yeah.
And 80% of the guys I've been able to talk them out of it, just by showing them, and it's a benefit package.
Was they happy long-term after you showed them?
Sure they were.
But that's what I hear. I mean, off-road pay, that's what you have to hear.
I appreciate
I'm
that.
talking about those, scrapers and all that, cranes.
Well, 15 years ago, when Ken and Charlie and I were all together in Tulsa, it was we'd come down here and fight for the graduates, for the oil industry. I mean, you go to the oil patch, man, they were sucking them out of here because they were just paying such better wages than we can.
There's some companies that really pays good money, every 18 months, they lay you off for 6 months.
You guys have really got to take and look at it long term.
For anybody, don't lay me off every few months.
Yeah, we used to get them to come over to us, and they're in Wolf Point, they're in Tulsa, and when they hired lay off at Douglas or that sort of thing, they can come tripping over there, and we had to say, hey, we're sorry, because we know that as soon as you get, your notice, you're going to go back over there. You know, and if they want to live that lifestyle, that's fine, but we can't help you.
Somebody asked this morning about layoffs. I don't.
No, I told the one fellow that asked me about layoffs, job security, the thing we try to do with our operations is within a shop is we try not to live solely by a 50 truck customer. Okay? If we have a 50 truck customer or a 25 truck or whatever, we're going to try to integrate some onesie, twosie, threesies in there in that same location so that if that 50 or that 25 truck customer goes down the road, we still have enough customer base that we don't have to lose people. Because we don't like to retrain people. We don't like to do it. I mean, fellas, the amount of time you're spending here today, and you're looking at a real learning curve here, and you're going to be coming out of your great guys in the technical trade industry. And we in in the private industry, we simply can't afford that learning curve. Bring a guy in cold and say, okay, here's Ryder, you know, and you try to take him up to speed of a T3. What kind of time frame are we looking at? About 6 years? Something like
People
that.
are investing for us.
And it's, you can't afford it.
Well, I got
So
one
what
other
would you
question.
say is starting annual rate would be?
Excuse me?
What would you say your annual income would be to start out? Like,
At dollar figure for a year.
for a year?
You know, I wouldn't want to tell you that because it depends on where you go.
I've got guys in McAllister making low-end mechanic wise, all making 21,000 a year. I'd say making 30.
How long would it take them to get that 21 to 30,000 range?
21 starting out. 21, the 21,000 guy, he's been around probably 9 years altogether. He's the kind of guy he's not wanting to develop real fast.
If you worked hard, tried hard, you could work up faster than that.
Yeah.
And like Herb says, depends on where you go to work, too.
Yeah,
I transferred because I was not going to stay a service manager all my life. I wanted to be a district maintenance manager. I wanted to be a region maintenance manager. And I moved. I went to New York, like I say. I'm only telling you, you got to go where the opportunities lay sometimes. But there's a career path there for you. Whatever you want, there's a career path.
I worked for a company one time, and the chief executive officer advocated and always encouraged people not to be afraid of a lateral move. Well, at the time, I was making 15 something an hour, and I was considering a lateral move, and I wanted to, but what they considered lateral move was drop back to $7 an hour. It was a lateral move, and that's not. I couldn't move over sideways and start in the training of the other deal. You were close. I'd have dropped back a few dollars, but I couldn't afford to drop back to 7 from 15.
No.
And to me, they encouraged it, but they didn't offer it. They didn't have it available.
But with the annual appraisals and the monitoring system we have in place with monitoring employees, we know who the strong performers are, and you'll know who you are, and you'll know what you need to improve yourselves. And the weak performers and the people that don't want to work hard don't work for us. And we've gone through that cycle the last couple of years. And I had to take a step back because we had a reduction in the company. But I stuck around. I'm glad I did. I mean, we're headed back to the right direction now, and business has a cycle to it, so it's not all good. Excellent job. I appreciate what you did. No, you covered a lot of area that is important to these folks.
Well, like I say, to them, you know, it's easy for a company to come in and say, we got this, we got that. You know, you can see it, know that it's there. Those people are real live, breathing human beings, and they go on an airplane every week and go somewhere to do training. Goes out of that 18.
I got a question about JD and I. We're not young as these fellas right here.
You know, I picked up on that.
How do y'all look at us? Coming up?
JD, I've already answered that for you. You can tell them what I said. What did I say?
Real satisfactory.
Okay, I'll talk to you.
I would tell you today, if I could get a guy of your stature at your maturity level, I'm not going to look at you any different from these guys. That has nothing to bear on hiring you. Age has nothing to do with it.
Okay.
As far as you can pass that physical and you can take that drug test and you can come to work and perform, we'll tell you what your job requirement's going to be. If you can meet that requirement, I will look for guys like you because you've got the maturity level. And I'm not trying to take anything away from you young guys, but don't you worry about that.
Okay.
Well, look, these young guys have got a lot to offer, a lot of time and everything else. We ain't got quite as much time as they have, but we've got a lot of experience behind us, too.
Well, as far as you young guys, I just urge you to start thinking about 65 years old because we were talking about, it seems like yesterday, we were down here talking to you from Tulsa, and that was 10 years ago, and Charlie says, I don't feel like I'm just as young as I was then. I says, no, you're not. You're getting to be an old man, and you're getting gray hair just like me. But time will catch up with you. You've got to plan for the future, fellas. The other thing I could urge you to do is involve your family in your decision. That's all I can tell you. Well, any other questions? Well, we really appreciate the opportunity to talk to you. guys. And if anytime he wants to come back, we'll be back. I'll be here for the advisory board meetings. And you'll hear more about Ryder and Okmulgee working together, so.
Is it possible that a man was in your town for a while, he, get a tour through your facilities?
Charlie's gonna put something together for the two classes we talked to today, to maybe go to McAllister and spend the day if you want to. And if you're, anywhere you wanna go, if you wanna go to Tulsa, Oak City, Dallas, Carol's got all our numbers. Anything you want, we'll put you through the tour and let you spend some time with some Ryder folks. I encourage you to do that. This is like we were talking earlier about, Brian said he went out and looked at somebody. Brian told the class this morning that he went out, or was it you, that after he interviewed somebody, he went out and looked at his vehicle? Because he could tell from that guy's vehicle that if he was the kind of guy he wanted to hire. I urge you to go look at some places where if you go to work, go look, you'll know what you're getting into.
Yeah.
So,
I heard same thing said by a guy who want to rent a house.
Yep.
One of his houses, the guy went out there looking at the car, it's full of trash,
Yep.
full of this and that. He said, no, I wouldn't rent it.
he's not gonna take care of it.
I made his mind up right then.
You go to some of these shops, and there's grease inch thick on the floor, and there's empty barrels all around the shop, and there's been oil and grease spilled everywhere. You're just looking for, that tells you basically what kind of organization it is. They're sloppy, and they could really care less, and that's basically how they're going to treat you.
Come see us.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Really.